name is Shawnee Riplog Peterson, and I'm the curator of mammalogy and ornithology at the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. Spring has sprung here at the Desert Museum and around, out in the bird world. So let's talk about some of the behaviors you might see in your own backyard. There's an Anna's hummingbird, which is the brightly colored magenta male. And he does a spectacular display. It's called a J display. So he'll come up to the top, there'll be a female sitting on a branch, and he'll come up very high and come down and make a J. And the top speed with him, when you're looking at the size of that bird, in 1 second, he goes 385 times his size. Shocking. That's just to get her attention. But then he's got other ways to go about this. That's with the color, with his lovely gorget area to flash and show her. And then a beautiful song. Who could resist that? It's a very brief courtship. They don't stay together for their lives. I mean, once there's been copulation, it's on to the next gal. And then the female takes care of the young, from having the egg to hatchlings to fledglings, and then even after the kids are out of the nest, even for 2 more weeks sometimes, they will go back and feed the child, the bird, the fledgling.
Oh, you almost nailed it. That's right.
With hummingbirds, the females do all the work. I hate to say it, guys, but they're deadbeat dads. They really don't help. It's all about the flash with them.
My name is Crystal Holcomb. I'm an animal keeper here at the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum, and I'm here to talk to you about bats. Well, the thing about bats is there is around 1,300 species of bats, so pretty much anything you can come up with is a possibility, because there's one species that'll do one thing and another that'll do something else. So there's a huge variety. The California leaf-nosed bat, which is a bat that occurs here in Arizona year-round. They don't hibernate. So they're a pretty interesting species, and they have something that is called a singles bar. And so what that means is the male bats will line up against a wall a little bit away from each other, and they'll start whooping and collaring and flapping their wings and trying their best to get the women's attention. And the females then get to fly by, they pass them all, then they decide who they want to go back to. And so then the females each get to pick which male is the best male. The California leaf-nose, it's a one-night stand. It's perfect for a singles bar. So they're just there to mate, and then the females do all the work after that. They'll even separate themselves entirely. They don't like men when they're pregnant. They don't like men when they have babies. So they stay away from the males. Other species, though, do have monogamous pairs where they'll help raise the young. And so it can vary a lot. Some will start mating in August and then not have their baby until spring. Others will wait and have it all happen in the spring, so hugely variable. The thing I love about bats is that because there's so many species, you can have anything happen. So if anyone asks me a question, I say, well, that's possible because there's so many of them.
My name is Bill Mannon, and I'm a professor in the School of Natural Resources and the Environment. Cooper socks in Tucson are really quite common. There are probably well over 200 breeding pairs. The Cooper socks are kind of smallish sized raptors, about the size of a pigeon, but they have longer tails. The breeding cycle begins in February, and at that time the male and female begin to hang out close to where they're going to build a nest. They go through some courtship flights, both male and female, and the male is bringing the female food on a pretty regular basis. And they both begin to build the nest together. So it's that time where the nest construction begins. Almost any place in Tucson where there have been these larger trees planted for shade, so it could be eucalyptus or the Aleppo pine trees, and parks and golf courses and people's backyards, almost all of those are used as nest sites by Cooper socks. The father does virtually all the hunting from about February all the way through August. And then both male and female hunt for themselves, although periodically the male will feed the female in the wintertime to maintain that pair bond. But the female hunts for herself during the wintertime. They have a monogamous relationship. They maintain their pair bonds until one or the other of them dies, and then they are replaced by another individual.
My name is Russ Solsky. I'm a reptile keeper here at the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. My specialty is the rattlesnakes. So my job is to make sure all the rattlesnakes are healthy and happy and well taken care of. We're cursed or blessed, however you want to look at it. We have more different types than any other state in the country. We have 18 different varieties of rattlesnakes living within the borders of Arizona. Courtship and breeding on rattlesnakes, it's not too much different than other type of reptiles, but when you focus in on the reptiles in general, a little bit different things to kind of think about. One thing is the male reproductive organs. There's a pair, and they keep both of these stored inside of their tail. But from the external experience, it's very, very difficult to tell a male from a female. They pretty much look the same. But when it comes for courtship behavior, the female will advertise herself as being ready to breed by laying down a chemical pheromone. Sort of like a perfume to attract other male rattlesnakes. And this will attract others of the same species of this type of rattlesnake, and they will follow her. If more than one male is tracking the same female and they happen to cross paths, they sometimes come into a situation where they have to fight with one another. It's called male combat courtship. A lot of people think this is actually breeding of the rattlesnakes. They'll see two snakes facing each other, and they'll kind of twirl around each other and they'll kind of push each other back and forth to the ground. That's actually the males fighting for dominance over one another for the right to breed with the female. Once breeding occurs, the father is kind of done and he's gone, he's out of the picture. His role is very important, but it's very minimal as to the actual raising of the rattlesnakes. The rattlesnake birthing season here in Arizona is typically tied with our monsoon season. So the breeding actually takes place in early spring for most rattlesnake species, and the young are born to coincide with the summer monsoon season. So typically baby rattlesnakes are born anywhere from July, August into early September.